What? Oh. This is welcome to the Board of Appeals meeting. It's November 8th, 2020. In accordance with Governor Baker's 3/12/20 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30, section 18, and the governor's 3/23/20 revised guidance on order by the governor prohibiting assemblage of more than 10 people. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. In-person attendance by members of the public is prohibited, and all effort will be made to permit public attendance of this meeting in the manner specified below via remote access by internet, telephone, and if available, via public broadcast of the meeting by Malden Access Cable Television on public access television channels. Public access will also be provided by posting draft minutes and or a transcript, recording, or record of the meeting on the City of Malden website at cityofmalden.org as soon as practicable by after the meeting. Additional information / guidelines for the public can be found here. And there's a link that I think you'll have a copy of. So that begins the meeting. For the first order of business, we need to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review those?
Yes. Speaking for myself.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Okay. All right. You want me to call it, or you want to call it? Want me to call it? All right. Kramer.
Yes.
All right. Sullivan.
Yes.
Sure. Oh, Sherman's not here. King.
Yes.
Thank you. Bilgan.
Yes.
Thank you. And so we have the ones that we did, but we'll ask actually for one more, Kibble or Senator Talaka. Which one would like to?
I think that I'm gonna vote tonight.
All right. Kibble.
So yes.
Thank you very much. All right.
I'm gonna defer to Emily on the votes unless there's a conflict of interest where she has to recuse herself
All right. Thank you. I just
for tonight.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Okay. So the first petition we'll be hearing is petition 20-012 by Seth and is it Makeda? Okay, Makeda Brown for a variance of MCC 12-16-010, Chapter 12 of the revised ordinances of 2020 as amended by the City of Malden, namely dwelling, single-family dimensional controls, 2.5 stories, as per plans RES 033044-2020 at the property known as and numbered 48 Boylston Street, Malden, Mass, and also known by City Assessors Parcel ID 084-404-431. Hi, Seth and Makeda.
Hello.
So what's going on?
So we have been slow renovating our whole house, one permit at a time. This last project, or this one's going to be, we want to finish the attic space. My wife, Makeda, currently owns a business designing wedding dresses and uses one of the bedrooms as her office. And we're going to be needing to convert that to a nursery sooner than later. So we're finishing the attic to convert for her to use as an office space. So I think the petition, the amount of finished space in the attic, once we did like the knee walls for unfinished space, it was more than like the 50% cutoff for Malden. So yeah, it's not going to be living space, but just like bonus space.
Yeah.
So
Not a bedroom or anything, just working space extra.
yeah, floor walls, storage, new electrical. So that's the gist of it.
Okay. So I'm looking at the sketch, and it's a snip. In every section of the sketch that I'm looking at says attic. So can we clarify what parts are being? Is it just a large area
the-
that's being finished?
All the smaller boxes, the 4 of them, like the top long one and the 3 others will all be like behind the knee wall space. That'll be unfinished.
Yeah, so
Okay.
just the larger box on the right and then that larger space in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an odd shaped space up there. We have like a turret that's that small square in the front
Yeah.
right corner. So there's like a little pass through from the main body of the room up there.
Mhm.
So it's not a huge space, but we just want to be able to use as much as possible, make it as functional as possible.
Yeah. New floors,
Go ahead.
new lights, insulation, sheetrock. So it'll look
Can I
nice.
ask a question,
Yep.
Please.
Mr.
Yep.
Chairman? Yep. Can I ask a question? What's the size of the room you're operating in now?
I believe I'm kind of guessing, but I think it's like 10 by 10 or somewhere around there.
A little over 100, maybe 10 by 12.
Yeah, maybe 10 by 12.
One of the bedrooms on the second floor.
It's wedding dresses, is that?
Yes.
What you do?
Yes.
So they take up a lot of space.
Yeah, and just my
I would
sewing
imagine.
table and cutting table, all of that.
Yeah, all behind the knee walls, we'll build like drawers and storage space and just try to maximize. Like storage for her. She's gonna have a large rack for the dresses. That small room we were thinking of converting to like a changing room, so she can host eventually people trying on the dresses and everything out of the house too. So.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is this an existing structure? You're not actually touching the existing structure of the roof?
Yep, it's existing.
Yeah, so from the outside, you won't be able to see anything change. It's just interior work. We just recently got our siding done and had all the attic windows replaced. So the outside, everything is done now. So it will just be adding knee walls and
Yeah,
changing
all internal.
floors. Yeah, all internal.
It's an existing pitched roof from what I can see on Google Earth and
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you'll be able to see the photos. It's
yeah,
multiple.
couple dormers, the turret, and then it's pitched roof, pretty
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Miller, but I can let other people ask questions too if they have them.
Because I think, because he can answer the question, probably it might be what you're asking. I think the issue here is that it's going to become a full story if they do 50% or over finished area.
Yeah, that's my question because the code story definition is anything that's higher than 7.5 feet. So maybe Mr. Miller, you can confirm what the issue is with finished versus unfinished, and if it has to do with the definition of a story or if it's some other part of the code.
Yeah, so the definition of the story, which I think you just referenced, is it's area that's 7.5 feet or greater in between a floor and ceiling or a floor and roof. So the term finished or unfinished doesn't appear anywhere in that definition. So it is a little difficult to tell from the drawings that they've given us, but it appears as if the 7.5 feet height would exceed the 50% where they have 352 square feet of what they'll be using as finished space or usable space. And I think they have 197 or 200 square feet of what would continue to be attic space.
So if they came to you and gave you a section of their roof and showed you that the way that it exists with the dormers and the pitched roof areas, 50% was under 7.5 feet, would they actually need to prove to you how much would be finished and unfinished?
Well, the 7.5 feet, they would have to have, so they have to still meet the building code requirements. for habitable space and ceiling height, which I'm sure you're aware of. So yeah, it would have to land somewhere in between the minimum ceiling height of 7 feet and the 7.5 feet, which is the requirement or the threshold for a story.
Right. No, I thought you could still occupy up to 5 feet if a certain percentage was over 7.5 feet. So I'm not sure the exact code.
Yeah, you're correct. On a sloped ceiling, as long as you have a certain percentage of your habitable space that meets the 7 feet, you can then have sloped walls that go down to a minimum of 5 feet. Absolutely. But you can't have the whole thing, obviously, be at 5 feet. Most people wouldn't fit under that.
Right, but I don't think that whether you put half walls or not, that doesn't change the fact that this would still be a 2.5-story structure, whether they finished it one way or another, as long as the existing structure is less than 50%, 7.5 feet, it would still maintain its 2.5-story definition.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Yep.
All right, thank you.
I had a quick question then. To get that, like 2.5 versus 3 is whether it's unfinished or finished, or if it's like habitable or not?
It has to do with the height
Okay.
of the space from the floor to the ceiling or the floor to the roof, not the fact of whether or not it's finished or unfinished.
Okay. Yeah, we had some other permits close in the building, and I forget which inspector was by looking at it. The headroom coming up the steps isn't high enough for it to qualify for like square footage. I don't think we're actually trying to make it part of like our square footage total of the home. I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't know the minutia of the rules, but yeah, I think it has to be like, I don't think it can actually count as a bit of habitable space. With the headroom, it's more just the issue of like the amount of space being finished was more for the appeal, but I guess it's pretty all encompassing too.
I think my point is that it seems very likely without the half walls you're proposing, your building still would conform with the 2.5-story requirement that our zoning has. And so I don't think, for me, the percentage of finished versus unfinished space is that critical. It doesn't affect the zoning. So I'm trying to argue based on what I've seen, it doesn't seem to be detrimental to allow you to have a different percentage finished or unfinished based on 50% of that still being considered a structure.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, for Nelson,
Go ahead.
I have a question relative to zoning. Operating a business in this area, I've heard now that there's going to be at least a certain amount of storage as well as customers entering this space. Now, does a concern could become the exits, and the entrance and exit as described appeared to be diminished and potentially inadequate as it exists?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Chief. As a home-based business, which is what this couple would be applying for once they get their project done. The conditions of a home-based business, which is what you're allowed to operate in Residence A. You couldn't operate a retail shop in Residence A. But as the conditions of a home-based business are that you cannot have customers show up. You can't have employees show up. You can't have a sign anything larger than, I think it's 3 square feet. Don't hold me to that. So the intention of a home-based business occupancy permit is pretty much for people who run a business out of their house, have a desk and a computer and a checkbook. Maybe in Ms. Brown's case, you know, she fabricates dresses at home, but people aren't showing up there to purchase things or.
Okay, I thought I understood the gentleman to say that the potential for a customer to come in and try a dress on.
Yeah, that's not, I mean, I'll say it's a very small business. I do custom gowns at this point, so it's definitely nowhere near a retail shop. I've had clients come for fittings, and our second floor, the room I'm currently working in, but I also go to their house for fitting, so it's definitely nowhere near a store or anything like that. I'm mostly working on the dresses at home, and then I do have people come occasionally to try things
Yeah,
on.
no, I appreciate that. I just think from my perspective, there's a difference between the second floor of your home in the attic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could also not have customers here if that made the difference. Like she could just leave this as manufacturing and her office space.
Yeah, and I could go to people if that's the case.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to mess with anything for like licensing or.
Yeah, if I could jump in on that, Mr. Chairman, just to get, make sure the understanding is there that you would not be allowed to have customers. That's a specific condition of the home-based business permits that we give out. And the danger behind that is that if you, let's say, did have customers or people show up and your neighbors complain, we would then have to take that permit away from you, and then you did all this work for nothing. So
yeah,
we don't want to see you do that.
No, of course. Yeah, we could easily follow that.
Yep.
Where are the stairs in the attic? Where do they come up?
They are, so on the right-hand side where that, you see the window gap, the little white part on the very far right top, right below that kind of cutout space is where the steps come up between like it's hard to describe, but.
Where it says 3'6" and 2'8".
3'6" and 2'8". Yeah, like right to the right of that is the stairs come up, like that 3'6" and 2'8" is like the landing for the stairs. So they come from right, well actually they go up and then over and land right where those numbers are, he said.
And do you know what the height of the, it looks like the turret has a higher ceiling than the peak in the front of the house that faces the street. That's not the turret.
Yeah, turret, so yeah, it doesn't come up in the turret. Like when you're in the stairwell, there's plenty of height. It's when you hit the landing, one of the, I can't think of the name for it, the beams and inside is what you would hit for headroom, and it's about 5.5, 6 feet. So like you land and kind of you'd have to watch yourself as you hit the top of the steps.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Does the board want to discuss it?
Yeah, so I'm confused. Do we need to approve this variance, or is there no variance needed for their plans?
So I think the variance is on the need, not me.
Maybe Nelson would be the best person to answer that. Is this variance needed for them to finish it?
I believe that they do need a variance because they're establishing a new ceiling height inside of, that space. So
Okay.
they are establishing, they may not be ripping the roof off and going up, but they are establishing a ceiling height, which then would thrust that, into these requirements for the 7.5 feet of which constitutes a story or half a story.
Okay.
I do believe, yeah.
Yeah, just making sure. Okay.
It is, I mean, not to give my opinion on it, but it is obviously on the very, very threshold, I believe, as Catherine brought up. It's right there on the edge, but I believe it does.
Okay.
And if I could ask, what is the hardship here were a variance to not be granted?
Mostly we have a 3-bedroom house, and we don't have kids yet, but we're planning on it very soon. And we just have big families. I have 6 brothers and sisters. I'm from Oregon, and he has 4 brothers and sisters. So our house is just kind of full of our family very often. So to not have a guest room is just kind of not like, it's really not great. Yeah. I think we really love our house. We love our neighborhood. Like we want to stay here for a while, and to not have a bedroom that we can't use is just kind of a big loss on our part.
Yeah, this will free up the bedroom and allow her like have more operating and storage space for us, and like overflow as we kind of fill out the walls of this home, so.
Yeah.
I'd add to that. Do you have any, it didn't look like you did, but do you have any space to add in any other way to get what you need, or is using this unfinished space?
Not in our budget, I'll say.
Yeah, this is like a manageable. We've been doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if all our permit records
But
are up,
yeah,
but we do
I
like
mean,
a permit a year and a little bit of work
Yeah.
each
I mean,
at
we
a
worked on the house
time.
for 5 years for that reason, because, you know, we can't do it all at once. And to add an addition or anything like that is just kind of, I'd say, out of the question from
Yeah.
a budget standpoint.
So yeah, then we can hopefully do this like we'll be our own general contractors, and then we'll hire out electrician where needed for permitting purposes. And like, we're not gonna mess with that work. And then so we can do it for a pretty reasonable cost with what we have for money. We pulled out we refied the house recently and redid our siding in those windows. So what we have left was the hope to finish this and, you know, readjust the space usage in the house. So.
So yeah, because I'm still, after listening to all of it, I mean, I'm confused a little bit about whether we do need a variance. It was turned down. I mean, it had nothing to do with the percentages of space. Is that right?
I thought it did.
Nelson, do you know?
Yeah, I thought that was the reason for the denial.
Yeah, was that's, I think that's what we were told.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what was the question?
The reason it was turned down, I mean, it seems like the difference between the unfinished and finished space isn't as much of a problem. I mean, if it's going to be living area, it has to be 7.5 feet, but there can be some finished area less than that. But you said there's no mention of the finished space in the ordinance bylaw.
No, the definition within our zoning, which defines what a story is, doesn't reference whether the space is finished, unfinished, or otherwise. So, you know, you can apply that definition to a brand new house that you're building, or you can apply it to an existing home.
So this was turned down. Why? Do we know?
Because the alteration to the attic was then creating a ceiling height, which created space that exceeded a half a story.
So that so what you're saying is that they needed more unfinished space in the attic.
I thought we were told.
Well, it's not a requirement to have unfinished space. A story is defined as space between a floor and a ceiling, or a floor and a roof that is 7.5 feet or greater.
Yeah, it seemed that during our denial, that was what was communicated to us, was the issue was you can have more than 50% finished, and our plans drew for like 70% finished.
Or something like
It's just 64 based on the calculations that are on
Yeah,
that.
here.
So,
yeah, so like 50% versus 2/3 pretty much.
that's not the actual, but
So what's the issue with,
yeah, I guess I'm
I
really
think-
confused now.
I could be wrong, but with the amount of information, I'm assuming it's hard to determine what ceiling heights you have, and therefore there's some assumptions made on the percentages that you would be allowed based on the existing structure.
Possibly,
yeah, the peak, there's 2 peaks in the home, and they run like right to left
yeah, because that's just
and then
the-
down along that kind of an L shape in that space. So
Yeah.
as you walk over and down, you're walking under the 2 different
Yeah.
peaks that I could measure real quick, but I think are
Yeah, I guess we just didn't.
7 or
know
7.5.
that was being taken into-
Yeah, I think I would argue you're not actually changing the shape or the form of your building, anything on the outside. And so you're, in my mind, using something that could be non-conforming and putting a ceiling height, whether it's, you know, at the roof rafters or lower, you're not changing anything on the outside. So I have a hard time believing that you would be changing the definition of what your house is currently seen as, whether it's 2.5 stories or a non-conforming 3-story building. You're not changing it.
Okay.
That's just my personal opinion based on how I'm reading the code. I'm not the inspector, so.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah,
we're
I guess
all
we were,
here for.
yeah, I guess we may not have been completely understanding what the denial was or what all the codings were. This is as much opposition or as much issue as we've run into during any of our permitting. We usually file and inspect and close and haven't really run into too many intricacies of the coding. So this is new to us.
Nelson, if I may, is this a project where the plans that are drawn up would require that architect stamp or like an official
No.
set of drawings, so to speak?
No, a single family home, like the building code provides for a homeowner to pull their own permit on a single family home. So they don't, not required to have architectural drawings.
Thank you.
Any other question? Any thoughts? Does anybody want to make a motion?
If we don't need to reach out to the public, if there's no one here for it, then I would make a motion.
Let me just ask then if anybody's here from the public that would like to speak, please raise your hand so we can call on you. No one has raised their hand.
Oh, I think David did.
Other than David. David, you can always talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
Okay, great. You know, I mean, I see this as kind of a little bit of splitting hairs here. I see this as, you know, a family that wants to set down roots in Malden, that wants to remain in the city. I totally respect, especially in these days, having the ability to support oneself through one's own business. And I think, you know, kind of almost like as we are here, you know, Zooming, I mean, I think the definition of a business is changing. And, you know, I see this as someone that, I see this as a family that wants to live in the city and grow and create a space for themselves to thrive. And I mean, I'm generally supportive of this. You know, I kind of see it as you know, I think the petitioner made it very clear that they're not going to use this as a retail space, that it's going to be a workspace. I have no reason to feel that's not the case here. I am supportive. I'm not voting in disclosure, but full disclosure, but I am supportive of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We also have a Q&A. There's a contribution from Ryan O'Malley, who's a city councilor from Ward 4, and he says that he is in favor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I've lost my video, but I'm still here. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I would make a motion to approve this petition based on my interpretation that it still would be considered a 2.5-story building from the information I've collected. And if not, it's an existing structure that they're not changing. So I would approve their plans.
Second.
We'll call it Kramer,
Yes.
Sullivan,
No.
no. King,
Yes.
Bilgan,
Yes.
thank you. Kibler,
Yes.
thank you. Vote of 4, yay, 1 nay. It has passed. You're all set.
Thank you very
You want
much.
the motion approved, Mr. Kramer? No?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So you can formally motion is approved on account on 4 yay, 1 nay.
Okay,
Okay?
we haven't done that yet.
All right.
So the petition is approved for 4 yay, 1 nay. Congratulations. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
So Catherine, did you want to tell them when you'll get a decision? What's the process after this for them, for the Browns?
Okay, so they will, Adam has still said that he will review the tape and write out the decisions. Once the decision is posted, they will have 20 days waiting period for someone to appeal it. If no one appeals it, then they take the decision. They get it stamped from the city clerk. They will take it to the registry of deeds, have it recorded there, and bring it back to us at the inspectional services so that their permit can be issued. Okay, and I will send you a letter with all this information also. Okay?
You're muted, but I heard you. You said thank you.
welcome.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay. So moving on, petition 20-015 by Thomas Mahoney for a variance of MCC 12-16-010, Chapter 12 of the revised ordinances of 2020 as amended by of the city of Malden, namely dwelling, single-family dimensional controls, setbacks as per plans RES 034-809-2020 at the property known as and numbered 100 Bainbridge Street, Malden, and also known by city assessors parcel ID 114711163. Hi, Mahoney's.
Hello.
So tell us about your project.
So we are here in Malden in our two-family home. When we were first married, we lived downstairs, and then when we had the kids, we moved upstairs to a 3-bedroom apartment. At one point, Tom's mom and dad moved. We would like to move downstairs because we're empty nested now, and put an addition in the back of the house to give us, so the downstairs apartment is a 4-room apartment, and our hope is to be able to add space in the
Put
back of
everything
the
on one
house
level.
and be on one level. Bring my washer and dryer up, and when they take me out, they'll only have to go down the 3 front stairs. That's the plan. So we've been here a long time, and we really hope that there's no reason to have to move, but in moving downstairs, I would be renovating my kitchen, knocking down the dining room wall, just really sprucing up
Opening up.
space that we've never really had a chance to do. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to get what we need in terms of space in the backyard for this project. So we're adding
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're putting an addition on to give us living space that we kind of like here on the 2nd and 3rd floor, but we won't downstairs because it's just the 4 rooms. We want a little bit more space.
Right. So the addition is, looks like an office, den, walk-in closet, a couple closets and a bathroom, and a mudroom.
Yeah, at the back door, right?
the
Yeah.
way it's designed to come in from the backyard.
Kind of in the middle of the house.
We
Yeah,
don't want to be walking right into a room.
and then also take the wall down between the kitchen and the dining room, so make that one room or
Okay.
an open room.
What is this? What I don't think I have a copy of the plot plan. What is how close is it?
So there's a culvert. I do have plot plans. I don't know if I could share my screen or would that be ridiculous? It was updated yesterday. We
had an updated plot plan yesterday.
Okay. Kathy, is that what you sent today?
I did. Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was stuck in a class all day and I saw something come through, but I may not have forwarded it.
So there's a culvert that runs on the driveway side that we can't build over. So it kind of forces us to put this in the space where we're adding it.
Okay.
Can you see that now? In the shared space or no? No, I think I lost everybody on that one.
Mr. Chairman, if you want me to answer that question for you?
Yeah, please.
So the addition on the left-hand side comes to 7.5 feet from the side yard property line,
Mm-hmm.
and the requirement's 10.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, there is a drain easement on the right-hand side of the property that they're not allowed to obviously build on.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any other questions about this?
I see the original, you modified this from the original plan that you had.
Yes.
All right. You had a stairway on the
Yeah.
left side going up to the second floor that you moved, but now you've kind of kept that the same place.
Right.
Yes.
And you have, so you've increased the distance for that setback. You're already too close anyway. You're already in non-conformance as it is. Is that right? I believe.
And I was actually surprised when I saw the plot plan that the corner of the house at the front is only 9 feet from the neighbors. So that was surprising to me.
Closer.
But
That was 1921.
right.
When you could do anything.
Yeah. The good
Well, I
old
mean, they lined it up with more to try to give the frontage on the street and so the house doesn't sit square on the lot. Plus you have that drain easement, which was an issue. So, I mean, it's pretty unique to that lot, I would think that you.
They changed the front too. They changed Bainbridge Street. So that threw things off too.
You gotta watch that city all the time.
I have a question if you're done, John.
Yep.
Your new plot plan doesn't dimension the new addition corner to the easement that you have. Do you know what that dimension is?
I do not. I don't. I'm just gonna.
It looks like it's more than the 2.5 feet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I believe it is.
So did you, with your architect or your builder, look at shifting the addition 2.5 feet to comply with the 10-foot setback? Or did you find that it was too close to the easement?
I think part of the issue too is that there's a hill out there and stuff. So, well, actually, that wouldn't be.
It's all about that culvert. And so we're trying to work within the guidelines of not encroaching on that. And I also think it's also an expense in coming off the house because we're coming straight back off the house instead of shifting everything over. So it's actually a smoother line.
Is it a new foundation though for the addition?
Yeah.
Okay,
Everything we'll be doing is brand new.
that's my only question. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions? there anyone from the public that wanted to say anything?
All right, I do have several hands that are raised. We'll actually go to Counselor O'Malley.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Mahonies are a great family in Malden. I cannot speak more highly in favor of their petition and their contributions to our community. Anything that can keep them in our community for the rest of their lives, I think we should do. I'm fully in support of this petition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and we have, I believe it's Tabo. One moment.
Yeah, that's interesting. That just guess that's my username, but it's Edward Arbo. I live down the street from the Mahonies. And I'd like to just echo the same thing. Basically, I've known them all my life there. I've delivered the newspapers there for my whole life, and the family has, and they're a great asset to the to Bainbridge Street. And I'd like to see this approved.
Thank you.
Okay, could I have your name and again and address for the record, sir?
Sure, it's Edward Arbo, A-R-B-O, 71 Bainbridge Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and we have one more. Ann Lacy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I live at 123 Baird Road, which is right beside Pat and Tom's. And I think that there would be a great benefit for them to have this space because the first floor is too small. And I think that having them stay in this neighborhood would be fantastic. And anything that we can do to help them stay here would be great.
Thank you, Ann.
And so I want them to stay and I want it to get approved.
Yeah. We want you to stay.
So that's my piece.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Everyone has spoken who has had their hand up, except for David. You get to chime in. Here's David.
All right, I'm just gonna comment again. I'm not voting on this, but this definitely sounds like a situation of family wanting to age in place. I can completely appreciate, and I have a newfound appreciation for being able to live on one level. I blew my knee out a few years ago. I had 2 subsequent surgeries, and my house is multiple levels, and it was very, very difficult to use the toilet. So just, I can completely appreciate how, as we age, the ability to live on one floor can make the difference between freedom and essentially being a prisoner in one's own home, or having to move to a different place. So I fully support this. I see this as an accessibility issue. I see this as an equity issue. I see this as allowing a family that has roots in the city to remain in place, age in place. In full disclosure, Mr. Tom Mahoney was my math teacher for, I think, 3 years at Malden High School. It might have been Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, if I remember right. So I'm very supportive, although I'm not voting. Even if he was not my math teacher, I believe I still would support this. But given that fact, I support it even more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, and you're gonna close to public? I don't see any other hands up.
Does the board want to discuss anything else? I have, so I'm Kathy, were there a new set of plans that were sent today too, or is this, the plans that I have are dated November 5th?
That's correct. Those
Okay.
are the latest ones. I just sent a complete package because there were a couple of changes, and I didn't want you to have to go to 3 different places to find the stuff today.
Yeah, Nate, I think that the new plans, correct me if I'm incorrect, but I think the new plans are actually further away from the property line. The original plans were closer to 3.5 feet, and the new ones are trying to be as close as the rest of the building, if not further away. So 7.5 feet from the property line.
Okay.
So I think they were dated 11/5/20.
Yes.
The new plans. And there's an updated plot plan that says plot plan updated.
So what is the existing first floor? So I'm looking at these plans. I see a dining room, kitchen, existing bathroom. The 2 front rooms are
Bedroom and living room,
bedroom. Okay, so right now it's a 1 bedroom.
right.
Okay.
We're gonna make the kitchen dining room 1 big room.
Okay. In that front room is going to continue to be a
Bedroom.
bedroom.
Right.
And then there's,
Kind of ending the way we started.
Yeah.
That was our bedroom
Yeah. The-
a long time
Yeah.
ago.
And then the kitchen is gonna extend out into the extension.
right, okay.
Yeah.
And there's an office with a walk-in closet and a
Right.
bathroom.
Right.
That's not a bedroom.
And then
Not
the washer,
presently.
the washer and dryer can come up and be right in that area. So that everything is,
On the same level.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else? Somebody want to make a motion?
I can make a motion that the variance be granted due to the fact of the shape of the lot plus the placement of the drain easement that restricts the siting of any buildings on the property.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we will call that Kramer,
Yeah.
Sullivan,
Yes.
King. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Bilgan,
Yes,
thank you. Kibler,
you're muted.
Sorry, yes.
thank you. All in favor?
thank you.
I think it's cool.
Exciting.
So-
This is really exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You're welcome. Good luck with the project.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you
thank you.
very much.
All right, thank you.
See you later.
Okay. All right, calling 34 Pamela Circle or 72 Flowers next.
Next, yep, is
Kathy,
She's, Kathy, you gonna give us some directions, Kathy?
Absolutely, yes.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I got too
We
excited.
were like,
we were just gonna start talking about you and you came back.
we're pushing all these buttons here.
Yes, I'll be in contact with you. When I mail you the decision, you'll get a letter explaining everything that you need to do, and you can always call me and I will also talk to you about it too. Okay?
You've been a
And
great help.
Kathy, you have been wonderful. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much for
Thank
everything
you.
you've been doing.
Thank you. All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Good luck.
All right, now we can leave.
You can. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
All right, good night, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
Ryan.
Good night.
Ryan,
Bye,
thank
bye.
you, Mr.
Bye.
Arvo.
You're-
Good night.
Good night.
All right. So I'm going to actually ask Hillary, she's the homeowner of 34 Pamela Circle.
Okay,
So I'm going to take her in.
okay.
All right.
Okay, so next is petition 20-016 by Christopher Derisende. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. On behalf of Kent Porter for a variance of MCC 12-16-010, Chapter 12 of the revised ordinances of 2020 as amended of the city of Malden, namely dwelling, single-family dimensional controls, rear setback for deck, as per plans RES 033-612-2020 at the property known as and numbered 34 Pamela Circle, Malden, Mass, and also known by city assessors parcel ID 016-013-368. And Catherine, did you say Hillary was the owner?
Yes, so Christopher did it on behalf of, oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute, that's the one, you see Ken Porter. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Wrong one.
Okay.
So I don't see our other, oh, there's Corey. Yeah. I don't see Christopher. I have a number. Chris, is this? There's a phone number. Maybe that is the one. We'll ask this person to talk to see. There's no name with him. Other than that, he is not present, nor is Ken Porter, the homeowner that I see. Someone raise their hand if you're for 34 Pamela Circle. Okay, one moment. What was that? Okay.
So I see 16 people on the meeting, but none of them are for 72. I mean, for 34 Pamela. Should we move on to the next one and see if somebody shows up?
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the next petition is 20-017 by, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong too, but I see Corey Rice, on behalf of Hillary Banda for a variance of MCC 12-16-010, Chapter 12 of the revised ordinances of 2020 as amended by the city of Malden, namely dwelling, single-family dimensional controls, setbacks as per plans RES 034-336-2020 at the property known as and numbered 72 Bowers Ave, Malden, and also known by city assessors parcel ID 103-709-942.
Hello. I'm sorry. I just figured I was the one on the phone, but my name is Christopher. I'm the representative for 34 Pamela Circle. I apologize. I tried to get on the phone, but it wasn't working, and then I just figured out how to get it online. So, but if I have to wait, I apologize.
That's okay. Now there's just one ahead of you. So
okay, no problem. I can wait.
We'll move on with the next one, and then we'll circle back to you.
Sounds good.
Thanks. So hi, Corey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So you want to tell us about your project?
Sure. So over at 72 Bowers Ave, they have or had an existing deck on the back of the house, and they are looking to convert it to a 3-season porch. And the existing deck, the way it was built by the previous contractor, wasn't up to code and was very unsafe. They wanted to contract with us to make a new deck that's to code and safe, but at the same time gain a little bit of kind of flex space, because Hillary, one of the owners over there, does work at home and would use that space during the spring, summer, and fall as kind of overflow space to work. They, like the other people who were petitioning earlier, do have a lot of family that are out of town and come to stay with them pretty frequently. So there's a lot of people in their house. So a kind of dedicated swing space, at least the spring, summer, and fall, would definitely kind of help to alleviate some of the spacing issues in the house. So the petition is to see if we can push out a little bit to kind of maximize that area.
Okay. So, right, so the setback is 20 feet and you're looking to it'll be within 10.
Yeah, it's right. It's going to be right about 12 and a half. So yeah, 10 or 11. The existing deck that was there was already built out at 11.5. I don't know if there was a permit built for that original deck, and neither do they. So that's what we were trying to figure out as to what we would be able to do to kind of maximize that area. And kind of, it's a small backyard, so they really didn't use it for much. So the kind of 3-season porch would definitely give them a little bit more flexibility to maximize kind of keeping their house and having a dedicated workspace again in the spring, summer, and fall.
Right. Okay. So the one that was there was 11 and a half feet.
Yeah, 11 and a half feet by 26 feet.
And then this one is going to be 10 feet.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be closer.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Nelson, was the old one permitted, or was it just really old?
We didn't research to see if it was permitted or not. It's there, so whether it was constructed with the house or not would be difficult to ascertain. So we just consider what's there to be an existing non-conforming structure.
Okay.
Yeah, in its current dimensions, it's existing non-conforming.
Right. Is there a reason you need it to be 1.5 feet bigger?
Just to try to kind of see, to maximize the space and all. I mean, that's a kind of the lot lines back there do go at an angle. So I think on the left-hand side, it's 13 and a half feet. And then on the right-hand side, it's 14.7. So just trying to kind of work the dimensions she was thinking about putting some furniture out there and kind of just give it to a little bit more area, since the backyard they have there now is pretty much not really useful to them.
Okay. So it's sloped, but the deck will allow them to use outdoor space. It'll give them more outdoor space.
Yeah, exactly. Something covered too, just protects them from kind of the elements and whatnot.
Right. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, you asked one of them. I'm still not too clear on. I mean, an 11 by 26-foot room would be a fairly decent size, I think. I mean, in order to grab an extra, I guess from this is 2.5 feet.
Yeah, 2.5 feet.
And in order for us to grant a variance, I mean, it's a tight neighborhood anyway. I mean, and they don't have much space behind the house, and to put another structure back there I mean, it's gonna be getting it right up close to, I know that this guy's coverage amounts, I mean, seems a little different than what the city has for the coverage that I had. I mean, my calculations came out to like 29.3 after we do the larger thing. And I think for a small lot like that, there doesn't seem to be too much reason to, can't do much about the existing deck that's there, but I mean, to grant a variance to make it even a greater intrusion upon the setback, I don't think is necessary to get a room out of that space for someone to use, especially not for 2.5 feet. I mean, that's not, you know, for usable space, it's still not going to be that much extra and additional.
Yeah, we just felt that because the existing non-conforming deck kind of was already non-conforming and encroached a little bit, that to see if we could gain that extra 2.5 feet just gave them a little bit more flexibility to both work out there at the same time, and at the same time give them a little bit of a mudroom and a closet, which they currently don't have now, to kind of store some of their items and things like that. And just flexibility also, like I said, that their family does come to town a lot. I believe their in-laws are from Florida, and their house is kind of chopped up. So the flexible space when they do have kind of a full house to be able to entertain in the back with a table instead of kind of say entertaining in 2 rooms, kind of that thing. So, I mean, that's what they were hoping to achieve at least.
I have a question for Mr. Miller. If they were to keep the exact footprint of the current deck, they would not need a variance. They would be approved to just build a sun porch in its place.
The way I understand it, what they're constructing is a 3-season porch. So in my estimation, even if they were keeping the same dimensions, but changing it from a deck to a 3-season porch, walls and a roof, that would also require a variance.
Okay, that's helpful to know. I guess I wasn't quite sure. John, what are your feelings about that now that we know they still need a variance even if they were to keep the existing footprint? Do you feel that the existing footprint is not suitable to replace with a 3-season porch?
I think that if it's, I mean, I don't like to give out variances too often. I mean, and this is, you know, if they need the space, you know, I think putting on a deck, changing the deck to a 3-season porch would be, but to encroach further on that setback, I think is something, you know, is that the bridge too far kind of thing, as far as I'm concerned. It's, you know, it's not really necessary. They still got a good sized room there. They've got a bump out in the back of the house that that gives an angle that certainly could be. He mentioned having a closet. He wants a mudroom. Well, maybe it wouldn't be a mudroom, but the closet for storage of stuff, and they'd end up with a, you know, and I don't have all the dimensions on this plan that's here, but still on an 11.5 by say 23-foot room certainly will fit a lot of things. I mean, tables if they want, or if they needed. It's only going to be 3-season. They're not planning, I guess, to heat it or anything. So,
No, they're not.
I mean, is there going to be a foundation under it? No.
No, it's going to be built on helical piles.
Okay. So that heating it would be, you know, kind of difficult anyway with that kind of construction. So, I mean, I don't see the benefit of us granting the variance or the other than they're wishing it. there's nothing about the lot that is that odd that it's already non-conforming. But to create a greater non-conformity is, I don't think is somewhere we should go.
If I could, I guess I'd just ask the same question I asked of a previous petitioner, and that is, what is the hardship to the petitioner should the variance not be granted?
Hardship just is kind of shrinking that space a little bit. Like I said, they're both independent workers. They're planning on having kids soon. Their families do visit a lot. It's a big extended family. It's just giving them, even though it may only seem like 2.5 feet, but it's giving them that flexibility to kind of fit the overflow of people who come to visit and give them a little bit more space to work in their house. She works full-time remotely, and just kind of be nice area for her to kind of have. That's the hardship, is for when mostly company comes to visit, need the extra space. To have her out of the house independently, kind of a thing.
But that hardship doesn't relate to the land. I mean, it's got to relate, for us to grant a variance, it has to relate to the land, and that, because their family comes, doesn't relate to the land, unfortunately.
Well, I'd have to agree with what a lot of John said, that if you were to replace the existing deck with a sun porch in its current size, I think it's still a very usable space. Hesitant to give you permission to extend that and become more non-conforming.
Sure. I mean, if like I said, they were trying to kind of maximize their space as best as possible, but as kind of an option B, as Mr. Miller said, the variance would need to be granted for keeping the existing size and just building a 3-season porch in its place in that. So as a kind of a backup, we would be open to that if possible, if they weren't able to kind of grab the original one.
So then,
Question for the chairman: if we deny, I have a question about denying with prejudice or without prejudice. Can we deny without prejudice, and then they can come back with the? Oh, Nelson's shaking his head. So why? Yeah, explain, please.
Go ahead, Nelson.
You would be allowing them to withdraw without prejudice, not to, you wouldn't, it wouldn't be the board denying, so you guys would never even vote on it. He would withdraw without prejudice. That would allow them to come back to you with a similar proposal, not having been denied, and be heard again. If that's the route you want to go.
So for the petitioner, what this means is that if we flat out deny you, you can't come back, I think, for 2 years. Whereas if we allow you to withdraw without prejudice,
Yep.
that means that you can come back with a smaller proposal.
because right now, if I'm correct, we have to vote on what's in front of us, which is this deck as planned.
Right.
We can't modify that plan. So
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, then I think then what we'd probably like to do then is to withdraw this application and then resubmit another one with the rebuilding the 3-season porch in the same place as the existing old existing deck.
Now, can I make a motion to approve his request to withdraw without prejudice, or do we need to go to public comment first? Maybe.
If I can jump.
Yes,
If the petitioner requests to withdraw without prejudice,
that
there's no need to listen to any comment from anybody. It's up to you as a board to vote and decide to allow them. You don't have to allow them to withdraw. You could make them suffer through this. So you then, if you guys vote to allow them to withdraw, it's then withdrawn, and they can come back with a similar proposal, a different proposal, or it's essentially, they're coming back with the same petition, but they would alter it.
That's what I would like to do, is allow them to modify it. So
So
I
they
would
they
I would
request you guys vote on it.
okay, so I'd like to put it up to a vote. So I motion to allow the petitioner to withdraw without prejudice.
I'd second.
All right, want me to call it?
Yeah.
Kramer,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
thank you. King,
Yes.
Bilgan,
Yes.
Kibler.
Yes.
Thank you. Vote of 5, yea, 0 nay. To withdraw without prejudice.
All right, great, thank you. So I'll work on our end of things and change over the things, and we'll reach the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Kathy,
So we do have 34 Pamela Circle.
Yep.
Christopher is on at the moment.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
What are the words after the motion? When you call, or I could say something, what is it? That's why I always kind of nod at you, but I can say something, but I don't know what those words are. So I lean on you, but what is the verbiage?
Motion made to, on that last one, withdraw without prejudice. 5 yeas, 0 nays. Motion is carried to allow to withdraw without prejudice.
But before that, so after the motion is seconded,
Mm-hmm. Well, then I just roll called it.
you do it. Okay.
Either
But
you.
I mean, technically, we can't discuss it until it's seconded, until there's a motion on the floor. I mean.
Yeah, he's
if
just
we-
asking the parliamentary procedure
Yeah.
to say, okay, who wants to vote
I
yes?
feel like I'm supposed to be
I
saying
think you're
something, but I don't know
supposed
what to say.
I think you just start saying the names.
Nate,
Is that what Kathy says?
Go ahead, Nelson.
Nate, you would say a motion was made by Mr. King to approve the petition as presented and seconded by Ms. Kibler. Clerk will call the roll. And then Kathy will start reading off names.
Okay. Okay.
So who made the motion, what the motion is, and who seconded it, and then you're there.
Okay. So I had to remember verbatim what the motion was.
We're gonna,
Keep it short.
you can always ask Kathy to get back if you want.
Okay. All right. So next and last petition for tonight, petition 20, and thank you, Nelson, 20-016 by Christopher DeResend on behalf of Kent Porter for a variance of MCC 12-16-010, Chapter 12 of the Revised Ordinances of 2020 as amended of the City of Malden, namely dwelling, single-family dimensional controls, rear setback for deck as per plans RES 033-612-2020 at the property known as and numbered 34 Pamela Circle, Malden, Mass, and also known by city assessors parcel ID 016-013-368. Hi, Christopher. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
No, you're good.
Okay.
So my
Before we start, could I just find out who Christopher is?
Yes, I am the general contractor for this project.
Okay, and who's hired you?
Kent Porter.
All right, because I'm trying to, when I checked on the registry of deeds, they have Brian Lee as the owner back, who bought it. When did they buy it?
I'm not 100% sure. I can give you the answer in I can call him right now and get the answer.
Because right now the only deed I can find is for that Brian Lee back in December of 2018.
Yes, let me give him a call and I'm gonna put you guys on mute.
I'm not a title researcher, so I mean, can't find out everything, but I mean, it's registered land, so sometimes people don't put the deeds in, they put it just into a normal deed instead of registered. They don't record it that way. And the name doesn't show up, but that's the only thing I tried both ways, but only could find. That was the only deed, the most recent deed I found.
I'm just gonna check the GIS while we're here.
Yeah, I have a Giovanni and Katina Orlando.
Yeah, they're the ones that sold it to Brian Lee. Now, he may have.
I have Brian Lee in 2018.
Yes, so it is Brian Dwan Lee. The Kent Porter is a different project.
Okay.
So we're not advertised correctly.
For my understanding, that yes, that's not his name.
Is that on our side or your side?
It's on the appeal as Kent Porter from Christopher.
It's a different project, he said, so it would be on his side.
No, it says Brian Dong. I don't know why it says Kent Porter. That's
on the proposed deck, the plans for the proposed deck, it says registered owner Brian Lee.
Yeah, and yeah, it was supposed to be Brian Dulong Lee.
Because we don't have anything showing that he's the one that's planning to do any work here.
Yeah, no, because it's on the contract between me and the homeowner. Yeah, Brian Dulong, yeah, Lee. Yeah, this is. I don't know why it says Kent Porter.
How is the newspaper ads read?
I have to. It doesn't say his name. It says by Christopher Deers. Oh yes, it does say by Kent Porter.
Now we're getting out of my comfort area here as far as if it's legally advertised or not, but I mean, I'm not too, I don't think we can. Is that a yes we can, Nelson, or is that a yes?
No, it's a yes. Unfortunately, I'm with you, John.
Well,
I don't want to go against anybody, but I am on the behalf of the homeowner, and the homeowner's contract between is me and the homeowner. I can get the homeowner to join our call if needed to get this straightened out. But this realistically shouldn't be like a deciding factor of.
Yeah, but there's a legal, you've done legal advertising that was put out, and you've got, I guess, 2 projects that you're talking about, one for Kent Porter and one for this Brian Lee. So I mean, and the people looking at that legal advertising,
but it's
may or may not know exactly what it's talked about. I'm not too sure.
But it's registered for the property location and the address. The address is here. The address with all the like the specific location records. So like it is registered for this place and for this project that we just, and I'm the one on behalf talking about the homeowner. The only thing is that the homeowner's name is like all the documents are Brian Dong Lee, but over here it says Kent Porter for some reason. Like the project is this thing, this address, like, so like the advertisement is for this project for this address, and I'm the representative.
A different person.
I'm the representative for the homeowner.
I know, but the advertising is for Kent Porter at that address, who has no standing at that address.
Mr. Miller, what are the options? Could he withdraw? Or?
Well, no, you wouldn't have to. If it's not properly before the board, then it's not technically a petition, meaning that you guys obviously wouldn't hear it tonight, and you'd hear it at the next meeting, properly advertised. And I'm not on the board. I wish Adam was here to, he's really legal guidance, but I do agree with John that any flaw within the agenda or the notification sent out does make it not properly before you, and therefore open to appeal by anybody. It's not a grounds for denying it, it's just a grounds for not hearing it.
Got it. My only issue is that this was very expensive ads, and I had to post it twice, and that means that I might have to, from what it seems like you guys are telling me, I have to do this again. This is
Why was it posted twice?
because Catherine
That's posted twice.
It has to.
That's my law.
Okay.
Is there anything you guys can do to for me not to do that whole procedure again? Like I can get the homeowner here and like get this straightened out. Like everything is I get the whole legal action of it, but
I really understand. I feel for you, but also if my neighbor was doing something and I saw in the paper the wrong name, I might not necessarily know to attend this meeting. I know my neighbor's name.
But the address is there. If you would see the address, you'd like what is in bold on the newsprint is the address and the Malden Board of Appeals, like the time and the address. Like I understand if if I was looking at if I was their neighbor, I would be looking at the address and who's representing, because like if realistically the person on the behalf isn't even here. I'm the one representing with like all the contracts and all the documents that was sent to you guys, and all the legal forms have me as a representative for 34 Pamela Circle, and the address and the newspaper ad is for 34 Pamela Circle.
But the appeal form that the copy of it that's sitting in front of me is for a Kent Porter who has no legal standing for that property. Now, Brian Lee, you could get him here, but I mean, the fact is that we're at the meeting now, it's at 8 o'clock. And
I have a contract that you guys also have.
yep, but it's not, it's our paperwork isn't correct. And if it works the other way, it works both the same way. If we do something and don't fill out the paperwork or do the thing in timely fashion, and someone brings that back up in court, we're wrong. I mean, the fact is that this appeal form is wrong.
Got it.
Ed is wrong. It is, and again, I'm not an attorney, but I gotta say, I don't think we can hear it.
Okay, so I would have to do the same. Would I have to pay this $250 again and go through this, other than the two
advertising? I think Catherine. Is that right? Yes, she's shaking her head.
Yeah. There would not be another fee to go. It would just be the advertising cost.
Okay.
Chris, if I could just, not to beat a dead horse, but just to maybe explain a little bit, and I certainly understand the pain of this for you, but these documents that go along with these petitions become permanent records on the property. And down the road, I can tell you, we do this all the time. We have to go back and examine those to see what happened and when. And sometimes that's in front of a judge. So if the information for a particular petition is incorrect, it causes all kinds of chaos in those situations. So unfortunately, that's why the information has to be, all of it has to be correct.
No, I completely understand. This will be resolved. I will get on this.
Did we have a December meeting scheduled, and did we do that yet? Would he be able to get that done and get back in time for the December meeting? Kathy?
You can get that to me tomorrow. I can get out the wording to him again, and he would be able to make the December meeting.
Did we schedule a December meeting already? I think we had somebody last week, but they got pushed to January, right?
They did get pushed to January.
Are we doing a December meeting?
We do have people that can come on for December. So yes.
Okay.
Doing that December meeting would be the 16th of December.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Christopher, if you're able to get that squared away and re-advertise, we can get you back in for the December meeting. I know it looked like I thought I saw September on this.
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting a while, so we'll get you back in as fast as we can.
When I'm sorry I missed it, but when's the fastest way next possible meeting?
December 16th.
Jeez. Okay.
But you have to get Catherine tomorrow.
Yes. I will talk to Catherine tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. So we will note this is not properly before the board. Okay. Okay.
So that was it, right? So the next meeting is scheduled for December 16th.
Yep.
Almost caught up. Can stop these every other week meetings now.
I know, I'm sorry about that, but you guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
Well,
yeah,
we're paid so much we don't mind,
The goal was to get caught up before Thanksgiving, so we did that.
We did.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Here we go.
Good. Second.
Happy Thanksgiving.